come forward? Next panel.
Happy New Year, everyone. It's a new year and it's a new world. And the technology that exists today is unprecedented in our history. And that technology has brought a lot of good things, but unfortunately it also brought a lot of bad things. And you go on the internet and you see all these things, background check, this, that, and the other thing. It's so easy to look up somebody's record, and it's oftentimes not accurate at all. There's many different private companies that do this, and there's a lot of misinformation. So this bill is really much needed. I thank Councilwoman Miller for stepping up to the plate and taking on this issue. I thank Steve and Wayne for organizing behind this issue. I think we should all stay with this, go to the City Council hearings, and go forward. Let me talk a minute about the particulars. First off, I also want to note, which I think everyone in here knows, Pennsylvania is the leading state in locking people up. So unfortunately, we have many folks that are affected by this bill and this problem. There are 5 features to this bill which would all be a step in the right direction. The first one is the fact that currently an arrest without a conviction can be considered. So if you get busted on a case of mistaken identity or this or that, and the charges are dismissed, it's still there, and it can still be used against you, and this bill would prevent that. Secondly, this would rely only on the Pennsylvania State Police record-keeping department instead of private companies or the courts or a lot of other things that are filled with misinformation. So that would narrow down the mistakes that are made. It would also allow an employee a chance to go to a job interview and to be offered a job before the background check is made, so that your employability is based on your resume and not on the one little box on the employment application. That is a big step in the right direction. If after you've been offered a job conditionally, they still have the right to look at your employment record, and if they feel that it's not helpful for whatever they're looking for, they give you a letter indicating that you are going to be denied. You have a right to challenge that either for whatever meritorious argument you can make, or if there's misinformation in there, you can challenge that and ask that that be corrected. Finally, as was mentioned earlier, it puts a time limit on convictions. Something that happened 20, 30 years ago, you were busted for pot, it's not going to count. It would only be recent convictions. All of these are important steps to helping people getting a second chance, and we should all be behind it. Thank you.
Before I bring on next speaker, I just want to remind everyone that I'm going to put a plug in for our organization, Ex-Offenders for Community Empowerment, that we also have the Pardon Me Clinic that meets every month. And Pardon Me Clinic assists the formerly convicted in getting pardons to remove conviction records from your record. So if you need any more information about that, see Wayne or I before you leave here. Okay, now I want to bring on Reuben Jones. Reuben was in the paper a couple weeks ago, where it told a story about his problems in finding employment upon his release from prison. He's a very prominent person in the arts community and very active in volunteer organizations. So now, Reuben, please come up and tell us about the need for such legislation. Reuben's from Frontline Dads.
I'm thinking because I think in my experience, even though they talk about the newspaper article, it's no different from everybody else's. Quick story. I was unemployed, going through the newspaper, called this number, spoke to the gentleman. He wanted to come in that day. Unfortunately, the place was located way up in Lansdale, PA. I didn't have a car, ran no money, ended up sacrificing because I wanted this job, right? Rented the car, drove up to Lansdale, went to an interview, gave my resume. I mean, the things were going well. I spent probably 30, 45 minutes with this guy. He showed me around the place, talking about my responsibilities, where I start. A lot of positives, right? So he says, I just got one formality. I need you to do the application, just a formality. We keep it on file. I said, okay, no problem. Go back to the office, I fill out the application, I see the box. I'm like, well, you know, the guy basically already promised me the job. It's not going to, you know, hurt me. I didn't care one way or another. I checked the box. He came back, we had a conversation. While we talked, his eyes glancing down the paper. Yeah, okay, Mr. Jones. When we got to the box, you know, his whole demeanor changed. Everything became, we'll call you. I got a bunch of people, you know, a bunch of applications waiting to be interviewed. And what I didn't tell you the job was cleaning porta potties. Cleaning porta potties, cleaning portable, stinky, dirty, filthy toilets. As I'm driving up to the place, you could smell it before you got there. It was like 3 or 4 football field size, a huge lot filled with porta potties as far as you could see. On the phone, the gentleman told me, well, I don't have a lot of people, you know, interested in this job, so I think I'll find back. So for me, it was probably like $7,000 to $8,000 an hour. So for me, I was coming out of this, I just needed a job. I didn't care. But after him rejecting me for cleaning toilets, because he saw that I had a criminal record, it crushed me. You know, I'm not afraid to make anybody here. It crushed me. It took all the air out of my balloon. My self-esteem was like this big. Because I felt like, wow, you know, like Steve said, everybody coming out of prison ain't coming out looking for a job, right? I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to get the most probably filthiest, grimiest, stinkiest job you can get for the lowest pay. And you told me I'm not good enough for that. I'm not good enough to clean the toilet because I have a criminal record. So what could a returning convicted felon do for a living if we can't even clean a toilet? You know, it destroyed me to a point that, you know, I had to kind of refocus my life and do something, you know, kind of balance the table. But I know that box, that question, is so vital in terms of denying people simple opportunities. If I had a job and I were an employer and I asked you, what religion are you? Are you gay? How much you weigh? You a virgin? I would get sued. I would get ran out of business because it wouldn't be allowed. But we can allow people to say, in the name of security, y'all been in jail? Y'all been locked up? Y'all do time? And it's not about weighing your ability to do the job. It's about you making a decision whether or not I want you to occupy my space. So once you check that box, I don't care how good of a carpenter you are. I don't care how good of a plumber you are. I don't care how willing you are to clean a toilet. You check that box, you put yourself in a position to be discriminated against. That don't mean don't check the box. But what it means is we have to address this by removing the box. Make it even playing field. Does that mean you're going to get every job you apply for? No, it doesn't. But it means at least you get an opportunity to have your credentials, your experience, your background, your work history weighed out on the table when it says, here's Mr. X versus Mr. Y, which is the better case. Versus eliminating from at least the opportunity for employment just because of that stigma of incarceration. So, for me, this is the movement I had to get behind and support, and I'm glad that all of you are here. Obviously, it's an important issue for you. And I hope that as we move forward, that you'll help spread the word that, there's something on the table that can change the way we live, period. It can change our very way of life because if we can remove that box from a job application, this allowing everybody in this room to be discriminated against, imagine what opportunities can come from that. If everybody in this room can be denied employment just because that box is on that piece of paper, if we remove it, then your ability, your skill, your work history, all that comes into play to be reviewed for an opportunity. And that's what we want. We want everybody to have equal opportunity to get employment, to get a job, to flip a hammer, to clean a toilet, or to work in an office. Your choice, your ability, your history. That's what you want to decide whether or not you should